Welcome to the Lawson and Gift podcast. Make sure to hit that like button, share the videos, and subscribe. We're on to Week 8 Vegas spread
Yeah,
picks.
last week, Gift, you absolutely killed it. I know you killed all your money picks. And really, my only mistake last week was picking the Giants. And you know what, Giff, I would still do it again because I felt sure. I went 3-1 on bets, so I can live with it. But that was one that definitely stung. I think we have some good picks this week for everyone. Subscribe, hit the like button, share the videos, leave your email address too because we're going to have some fans on if you want to come on.
All right, and with that, we'll start with Washington plus 16.5 at Minnesota.
Giff, Washington covers, Minnesota wins, and I think Washington is setting up to cover things. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because Minnesota's got quite a few injuries. And the team's not colossally banged up, but I think there's enough injuries to have problems. No Thielen. Washington, I think they're going to load the box, but Dalvin Cook, he's been the best running back in the league so far. He's going to get stuff going. But overall, I think this stays close, and I like this big point spread for the Washington. But don't bet this one, please.
Yeah, I'm going Minnesota to win and to cover, but I won't be betting this one because the point spread is just too much for me. But right now, if Kirk Cousins is going to be protected and they can run the football the way they're running it, even without Thielen, I got to like that play-action game they got. So, and the defense, too. I love that Minnesota defense, and I look at Washington, and I think, how are they going to be able to do this? They can't really run the football. They really only have one okay receiver. How are they going to get this done? I don't think Washington's able to do much offensively, so I have to roll with Minnesota.
I don't know if the NFL wants another primetime game to be a blowout.
Well, that's
not trying to put that out there. You know, I'm not even conspiratorial like that, but a lot of these primetime games haven't been competitive, especially this week, and we can name other games too. Normally, primetime games are semi-competitive at least. The Cowboys game was over at halftime.
I wish that they would maybe change some of these, swap teams out. I mean, I know that might not be fair to a team because it's Thursday night and you're not expecting it, but I think they got to do something about some of these
I expect games. Thursday night to stink. I don't expect Sunday night to stink.
Yeah, or Monday night.
Yeah.
And with that, we'll talk about the Giants plus 7 at Detroit.
Man, I love Detroit in this game to win and to cover. And the thing that's making me cautious, though, Giff, is will Detroit have health? Will Darius Slay play? If Darius Slay plays, I think this is win and cover Detroit. But watch these injuries because if Darius Slay's out, if Snacks Harrison's out, Giants to cover because Giants will be able to do some work against this defense. If everyone's healthy, even Jared Davis is a problem for Detroit to play. So if Detroit's guys are healthy, I'm picking them. I'll give you guys an update on the over-unders this week.
This is another one that I think I'm going to stay away from because of the Giants and Detroit, really, because we don't know what we're ever going to get from them. How average are they going to be? How bad are they going to be? But I have the Giants to cover, Detroit to win. A touchdown for me is just a little bit too much. I got to think eventually the Giants are going to get the run game going a little bit at some point. I don't know when it's going to come, but maybe the second game back for Saquon, a little rusty in that first game back, and then it'll open up some things for Ingram and their receivers down the field. So I do like them to cover in this. With that, we'll move to Tampa plus 2.5 at Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee wins and covers. And I think Tennessee, I'm not expecting them to make a valiant run to the playoffs or anything like that. But they did show a response with Ryan Tannehill last week. And everyone knows I'm no Ryan Tannehill fan, but it was a significant upgrade. Now you look at Tampa Bay, they stopped the run really well. So that isn't worry, and that's why this isn't a money pick. But do you really trust Tampa Bay, even coming off a bye week? Do you trust Bruce Arians to game plan properly? I think Mike Vrabel's the better coach. Give me Tennessee to win in the cover.
This is another game where I don't trust either of these teams, but I do have Tampa Bay to win in the cover. The whole thing is can Tennessee get a pass rush? Haven't seen much from them in that regard. And if Winston's able to get comfortable, we know he can make things happen. It's when he gets pressured and when he has to make moves with his legs where things start to fall apart. We saw that a week ago. But you mentioned them stopping the run. I like that as well. How effective is Tannehill going to be? I'm not really sold on that either. So if Jameis has protection, I like them to win and cover in this game. With that, we'll move to the Chargers plus 4.5 at Chicago.
Yeah, give me Chicago to win in the cover. Borderline money pick, but Chicago is so bad on offense, I don't think you guys can bet this. I think it's something maybe to put on the parlay. But, man, firstly, we got to look at the Chargers. They really only have 1/4 of offense per game. That's really where they've been. And I don't think they'll be able to run the ball. Even though teams have gotten it going, running the ball against the Bears, I think the Bears will stop it, and there's just not enough weapons on the outside, and Phillip Rivers isn't playing at a high enough level to really make this work. Now, on this other side of the football for Chicago, it's worrisome. This should be a slam dunk money pick, but you don't even know if you're going to get competitive quarterback play, my friend. And if Chase Daniels start, I would seriously suggest the money pick, though.
Yeah, if that were to happen, although we know the front office probably won't let Chicago do that. But as of right now, I have the Chargers to win and to cover, but nothing to hang my hat on this game because the offenses for both these teams are so bad. You can't bet this game with confidence, so I would definitely stay away from it. But I just think that Rivers does just like a smidge enough. Maybe they win by 3.
It's possible.
Yeah, it's not.
So you're
great.
picking a pure upset.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Chargers to win and cover. This Chicago offense has been that bad.
Well, and you were kind of in agreement with me. You didn't go quite as harsh as me, but I did put a 7-9 stamp on this Bears team, and they really do look like that. Yeah, I mean, I know the Saints are a great team, but you got to win that game at home last week against the Saints. Saints were due to lose. How many games are the Saints going to win in a row? But yeah, it's looking bad for Chicago. This is going to test Matt Nagy. We can talk X's and O's. We can talk a lot of things, but this team needs a response, an emotional response. We'll see if he can garner it. I'm banking on a little bit, but then again, this team might be just emotionally crippled due to having to put up with Trubisky.
It might be a little bit emotionally crippled, and also, I remember last week when I said it, Matt Nagy can put together a perfect game plan. It won't make a difference because of quarterback play, and actually that was the case against the Saints. We saw guys open. I remember Allen Robinson was open down the field. Trubisky just overthrew him. Those are the type of things that Matt Nagy can't control. And with that, we'll move to Seattle at Atlanta. Seattle is minus 3.5 if Matt Ryan plays. If Matt Ryan doesn't play, it's going to be 7.5.
Yeah, give me Seattle to win in the cover. And just don't touch this game if Matt Ryan doesn't play, though, because I've been saying it all year. I know everyone loves the Seahawks team. Like, I love Russell America Wilson. I think he's an MVP candidate even after that bad game last week. But the Seattle team has a lot of holes, too, and they're not necessarily an explosive outfit, and they don't have a top 10 defense. So you got to factor that in. Seattle wins and covers, though.
Yeah, I got Seattle to win and cover as well. I guess I would be a little bit worried. I don't think Matt Schaub is that good.
He's terrible.
So I think either way you would win this bet. It really would just be a matter of if Atlanta can somehow get the run game going. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Giff, Matt Schaub shouldn't be in this league anymore. Like, no, he's really bad, Giff. I've even seen him in preseason these last few years. He's really, really bad. He was really, really bad like 4 or 5 years ago when he was starting. Like, I'm serious. I'm surprised he's even in the league still.
And it's looking like he will be starting. It's pretty sad, actually. And with that, we'll move to the Jets plus 4.5 at Jacksonville.
Yeah, if I see some spreads, got this up to minus 5.5, minus 6. Money! Jets cover, Jags win, especially if you're giving me 6. Yeah. You're giving me 6. And 2 weeks ago, you went ski mask style and robbed Vegas when you picked the Jets to win against the Cowboys. There's going to be something similar because we can't get over emotional about one game. That's one mistake a lot of bettors do. But this Jets team, they play decent defense, decent to solid defense. They play aggressive on defense. And the offense, they'll be able to do something. They're not going to have to score a lot. They put up 17. They're probably going to win this game. Now, I am cautious about this in a way because I do respect the Jags. I respect the defense. I respect Fournette. But I do think this Minshew thing has its limits.
Yeah.
And I'm still asking myself, when's Foles going to be ready? Because it's just Minshew needs to keep him close enough so they can make a run. But if he loses to the Jets, Jags aren't making no run.
I got the Jets to win and cover as well. I have to agree it's a money pick. I already put money on the Jets. You got to like it. Also, we already mentioned in our recap, Jacksonville did struggle against the Bengals with all the injuries they had. The Jets are coming in fully healthy. I like the Jets in this game. I think, you can't get over emotional. It was the Patriots. They're one of the best teams in football. They're going to blow teams out. It's going to happen. I wouldn't get too upset. I think you got to go with the Jets in this game.
But I hope Adam Gase has a better plan and strategy. I hope, because and I hope he hasn't lost his team already, which is something he's more than capable of doing because he can't connect with people.
Well, I trust Greg Williams to get the job done against Minshew. But again, Adam Gase, he's not going against Belichick in this game. So with that, we'll move to the Eagles plus 1.5 at Buffalo.
Yeah, Giff, I love the Bills to win and to cover this game. And there's a lot of things that are going to transpire this week. You need to watch Philly's injuries. And if Philly's injuries stay the same, Bills win and cover. And I think the one thing the Bills are going to do this game is throw it. And there's not a lot to throw it to, but I think the Eagles are going to get up in that box, 8-9 men, because we saw what Dalvin Cook did to that Eagles front seven running it. Not saying it's easy, but I think Bills are able to run it. And do you trust Wentz to keep down the turnovers? And not blaming all those turnovers on him, but do you trust that Eagles offense as a whole to keep down the turnovers? At this point, I certainly don't. Bills win the turnover battle, therefore they win this game.
Well, Bills do have speed at receiver. I think they can take advantage of the Philly secondary, especially with how banged up they are. But what I really like is this Bills defense in this game. Eagles cannot run the football, and if they're going to try to go into Buffalo and just throw it, that's not going to work against this defense, because you've already mentioned today in the recap video how well the Bills defend the pass. And that's really all the Eagles are going to have.
That's all they do. You got to run it against the Bills, and are they disciplined enough to stick with the run? You certainly hope they've learned some lessons. Like if they get down like 7-0 in this game, are the Eagles going to just start throwing it every play like old Andy Reid? Like has Doug Peterson become Andy Reid? Like the reason why his teams were good were because, yeah, dude, they were creative. Yes, he take risks. Yes, he goes for it on fourth down. But the main ingredient for the Eagles being good is running the football and playing smart, aggressive defense. We haven't seen a lot of that.
Well, and again, I think when you look back at the Eagles and when they made that Super Bowl run with how good even LeGarrette Blount was with them, but the thing was that offensive line was opening up major run lanes. It's kind of like that same thing with the Rams, last year and how good they were because of that offensive line. If the offensive line's not doing that, you're not going to have it. You're just not. And right now, their O-line is not opening up run lanes. And with that, we'll move on to Cincy plus 13 at the Rams.
Rams win and cover. Normally, I don't like this many points, but I like the Rams in this game because of, like you said, what you said about Cincy on our last week's review. This is one of the worst teams in football. They're playing worse football than the Dolphins right now. And the funny thing is, they're actually trying.
Yeah, they have a lot of injuries, and I got the Rams to win and cover as well, too. This Rams team at home, their defense starting to come along. I think the Ramsey trade, it gave them a little boost. Their D-line is playing a lot better. And Aaron Donald up front in a game like this, I don't think Andy Dalton's going to be sitting back there doing too much. I think it's going to be a rough day for him. So, yeah, give me the Rams to win and cover this. And with that, we'll move to Arizona plus 9.5 at New Orleans.
Oh, New Orleans wins and covers. There's just, I love the points. You know that's how I love it. But at a certain point, you have to just look at some of these teams and say the gulf in quality is just enormous. And Arizona, credit to them last week, but do you see them putting in 2 really good performances in a row? I don't see it, man.
I don't, and I'm staying away from this one irregardless, but I have Arizona to cover, New Orleans to win. I don't think that this is even going to be close when it comes to who wins the game. New Orleans definitely takes it, but 9.5 is just one of those games where I feel like maybe Kyler Murray can make some things happen. Not a lot, but enough to keep it within 9. And that's really where I'm at with it. They have been really good in misdirection. Some of their play calling I actually have liked. So I like Arizona to cover that. And with that, we'll move to Oakland plus 6.5 at Houston.
I love Oakland to cover this game, and I said 2 weeks ago maybe because we've been picking the Raiders to cover these spreads a lot because everyone thinks John Gruden's stupid. Could play the Khalil Mack. Well, he needed to rebuild the whole team, fellas, and that's what he did. And I hope, and this big loss to the Packers, I think this lowers everyone's expectations for the Raiders. That's when we swoop in and pick them to cover. Now, this is going to be tough against Deshaun because we know the Texans are going to test your secondary. But if they can stop the run, keep it one-dimensional, I think they get just enough pass rush to make him feel uncomfortable. On the other side, I think Raiders go a lot of play-action pass. They put up enough points to keep it close.
Yeah, and I love that Raiders run game, too. I have to go with the Raiders to cover this, Houston to win. I think this actually could even be an upset for the Raiders to possibly
It's upset alert.
Without Will Fuller, as I've said, that takes away so much from the explosion of this Houston team. I can't get excited about Houston anymore without Will Fuller. That's it. It's done.
And when are the Raiders going to get a home game? This is the most ridiculous schedule I've ever seen in the NFL in my lifetime.
It's definitely the hardest schedule. It's a bit ridiculous.
And it's a hard schedule already with all the teams they have to face. They just face quality opponent after quality opponent while everyone else is playing just straight up trash. And then they don't even get home games and they get shipped over to London to make it even worse.
It's
crazy, man.
It is.
What did John Gruden do? Did he I don't even want to say it.
Maybe he's just too outspoken for people. I don't know. And with that, we'll move to Carolina plus 5.5 at the 49ers. Can the 49ers stop McCaffrey? Or will they let him just run wide open?
This is tough. I want your... This is one of the toughest ones I've seen in a while. I got Carolina to cover, San Fran to win. But, man, is this a possible Carolina upset? Or am I just getting a bit ahead of myself?
I can't... Look, I'm not confident about this, but I'm going 49ers to win and cover. And I'm not confident because teams continuously decide not to contain McCaffrey. I don't know why it is. But the 49ers, everyone has been telling us the defensive line has been playing better. I got to believe that they're going to be able to stay on McCaffrey a little bit. And then I'm not sold on this Carolina passing attack. So I still believe if you stop McCaffrey and neutralize that, you win the game against them.
Well, my direction I was going in was your questions about this 49ers offense. Because to beat Carolina, for me, I think you have to do more than run the football. I think you have to throw it on them, and I think you have to test them deep and bat them off. I don't know if they can do that. I don't think the 49ers can do that. That's where I'm at. But, yeah, there's two ways to look at this game. I do see this 49ers offense struggling.
At least in the beginning, I could see him struggling a little bit. That's a tough one.
That's tough because Carolina's been playing some good football lately, but we don't know how long this Kyle Allen odyssey is going to go on for. You always have to be skeptical of that.
Yeah. And with that, we'll move to Denver plus 6 at Indy.
Yeah, Indianapolis wins. I got Denver covering, though. We've been riding with Denver to cover a lot this year. If I think they do it again, even though last week was absolutely pathetic, there's no pressure. I don't trust the Colts to really put the boots and paws on people. Think it's a close game.
I really like Indy to win and cover this. I probably will be betting it. It's just, to me, Denver has been so bad offensively, and Indy right now is playing really good football. They're on an upswing. They're at home in this game. I just don't see Denver being able to do a lot offensively. Darius Leonard's back and healthy. I don't see Denver being able to run it that much with Lindsey, even though I do like him. And then Flacco too. As I've said, if the play's not clear as day right in front of him, he's not making throws. And with the confidence that this defense is playing right now for Indy, especially secondary, I can't bet against that. And I think that the Colts, too, offensively, they're doing so many things right. Play calling, running the football. They have a solid offensive line. T.Y. Hilton back in the fold. I think Denver's going to be hurting.
I think the extra time to prepare will help Denver because they do have some more time to prepare for this game. Mm-hmm. But then it comes down to you can have all the preparation, you can have an advantage in that. But as Vic Fangio lost his team, I mean, we were probably the only two people in America not really excited. We weren't really feeling it. I mean, we weren't really shitting on it per se when he got hired, but we weren't really feeling it and getting optimistic. Has he lost his team? That's probably going to be the biggest question, whether they can win and cover this game.
And with that, let's move to Cleveland plus 13 at New England.
Man, I got Cleveland to cover, New England to win. I think Cleveland getting some extra time will help in this game. And it's about time New England plays a team with some dudes who actually has some talent on the other side. So I'm curious to see what happens. But you have to be a little bit worried about Baker in this game. But I actually love Cleveland to cover. But Cleveland needs to run the football. They need to play smart. They need to do lots of crossing routes against that man-to-man. Don't have Baker standing in there 4 or 5 seconds. Still not understanding why the Cleveland Browns haven't added a left or right tackle. They're not. Listen, we predicted this Baker sophomore slump. Okay, we're right about that. The Browns need to help them a little bit and get another offensive lineman in there at the end of the day. That's where I'm at on it. New England wins, but Cleveland covers. Kind of sure about it.
Yeah,
pretty sure.
I agree, too. I already laid the money on Cleveland.
Whoa!
I feel pretty good about it. But you're right. They got to do simple things right. Run the football with Nick Chubb. He's a really good player. Let that open up things for Odell and company. Jarvis Landry. You've got enough weapons to come in here and do this. And I think that is one of the best ways you can attack this Patriot defense. Run the ball first so you don't have to throw into that really good secondary. Only thing I'm worried about in this game is the fact that it's in New England. And, of course, Belichick out coaching Freddie Kitchens. I'm a little bit worried about
You would hope the extra preparation time, the whole extra week would help Freddie Kitchens.
Yeah.
But, Geff, we were right about this guy. He's a dud.
Yeah, I don't think he doesn't deserve the job. It was really Greg Williams' job, in my opinion.
It was.
And with that, let's move to Green Bay, and we got that at -4.5 at Kansas City.
Yeah, Geff, I like this point spread right now. Green Bay to win in the cover. Devontae Adams probably not going to play. But, man, this is a good time to play the Chiefs. Yeah. Although the Chiefs are going to put up some resistance, some fight. But the thing that worries me about the Chiefs' defense isn't really the secondary, which stinks. I think Packers are able to run it a little bit. And once they start running it just a little bit, everything opens up for Aaron the Game Rodgers. Green Bay wins and covers. And I think this Green Bay defense, they got dudes who are really athletic in that secondary. That's the one thing you need to play Kansas City. And Matt Moore, you know how that goes. You've seen him play many a days.
Yeah, and Green Bay isn't Denver. So I got Green Bay to win and to cover this as well. I don't care how good Andy Reid is in play calling. They're not going to be able to beat Green Bay with a backup quarterback. It's just not going to happen. Also, because Kansas City doesn't particularly run the football that good either. No. If they had that element, like if that was their first way to attack you, I'd think about it and say, okay, maybe. But no, they're not very good at that, and they're not going to be able to sit back and throw against this Packers defense with a backup quarterback. It's not going to happen, and we know the Chiefs' defense is very vulnerable. And with that, we'll wrap it up with Miami plus 14.5 at the Steelers.
Is this really good? Is this the Monday night game?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, here we go again.
Why do they got to put Pittsburgh on Monday night? Like, it's like a compulsion. Every single year, whether they're good, bad, they just throw them on Sunday and Monday night. How many primetime games does this team need? Isn't this like the third already this year?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
It's a bit ridiculous. I'll go first in this game, and I actually really, really like the Steelers to win and cover.
Man.
Think back to last year when Fitzpatrick was with the Bucs and they visited Pittsburgh. Pick 6, 3 interceptions. That Steelers defense.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Tomlin knows how to play Fitzpatrick, and if Rosen starts, then I think without question you go Steelers. But...
Yeah, well, Fitzpatrick starting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right though, because we've been saying it all year. This is the best Pittsburgh defense they've had in like 5, 6, 7 years. Let's be realistic. This defense is actually really good, even though like they don't have the star power. I mean. Man, they got a little bit of a pass rush. They're getting some more athletic linebacking play. Yeah. And Tomlin coaches up the secondary. yeah, Pittsburgh wins and covers, even though it's minus 14.5. It's a little bit too much for me. But you sound like you're sure like a money pick style.
Yeah, I'm very sure about this. I feel like that Steelers defense just blows up Miami in this game. And with that, make sure to hit that like button, share the videos, and subscribe.